What's going on YouTube? So right now we are going to be looking at the brand new video that Ashes of Creation just came out with about 2 hours ago, I believe. I'm stoked for this game, man. Like, I know I haven't posted any content about this game specifically, but it looks super promising, and I might make a video explaining why I have high hopes. Okay, I have high hopes. I know as a gamer for 20 years, we've been lied to, deceived, promised. I mean, how many games have we seen that's been in early access for too long? Okay, companies that get the customers' money and then dip, they leave, all that stuff. But this game looks promising, and I'm excited. But without further ado, let's get right into it. And by the way, I've not seen this. I haven't looked at it. I saw the notification, and I decided to make a video. So let's get it.
Hello everyone, welcome to our development update for August 2020, or August, September? I don't remember what month it is. No.
We're in August.
Yeah, we're in August. How are y'all doing? I hope you guys have been good. I feel like I just talked to you moments ago, so.
I hope that's loud enough. It should be loud enough.
We're doing great, I think.
Doing very, very good. Excited to be on another monthly live stream. Got a lot of stuff to show. Doing some
We do.
recording yesterday.
Yeah, so I'll kind of go over what we'll be covering today, and then we'll get right into it. So we have lower thirds now because people kept asking who we are, so there you go. But it's not about us, it's about Ashes of Creation. So here we go. Today's update, we'll have a studio update from Steven. We did announce some stuff with My Games, so we'll talk a little bit about that. We do also have a design update. We have some in-game footage, actually 2 videos for you this time around, and environment art update as well, with some cool assets in that end, and a character update with another video as well. And then we'll go into our Q&A, which we've got quite a few questions. We'll probably get through 10 of them, but maybe we'll try for more if we can. We did get a lot of questions in the forum thread, so thank you so much for putting those in there. I know Toasty's going to try her darndest to answer as many as possible because there were a lot of repeat questions in there as well. So for quick updates, I'm just going to quick show those. We have our next dev discussion. So our next dev discussion is coming up in September. Stay tuned for it. All I'm going to give you is a sneak preview of immersion is going to be the topic. Get ready for that. We are compiling the dev discussion from the previous one. So I think that report already went out to the design team, correct, Jeff?
I sure did.
We also have a sweet coloring book for you guys. If you check out our ashesofcreation.com
That's cool.
news, which
I like that.
also is a great place to get all of our news. Everything's always there, even our live streams. I've now started uploading those as well. So everything's up there. We will be getting a fresh new look to that page too someday. So stay tuned. I'm really excited.
By the way, I just wanted to chime in. The participation that you guys out in the community have had in the dev discussions is very appreciated. It's really great to see different, opinions and comments and experiences, and all of those things kind of go to further reinforce, a lot of the design decisions that we've made with Ashes of Creation, and it's very beneficial for the team to kind of get that very eclectic, view from a lot of you guys as players. And please don't stop participating in those discussions. It's very, very helpful.
Yeah, and Toast does a great job of thoroughly going through every single comment. So don't worry, you're getting heard. And sometimes the example ones that she provides for the links for the dev team are it gets really long because there's been so many conversations happening with that.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, you sometimes think you understand what the audience wants, but actually hearing it, directly in an organized way really helps to, laser focus us and get us on the right track. So yeah, keep it coming.
Yeah, awesome. And of course, those are up on the page for the coloring book if you want to participate. We've seen a lot of folks posting those, so that it's been really awesome seeing that. And we have our next cosmetic. We always tell you whenever the swap over is on the news post, so definitely stay tuned for that. But our swap over will be September 2nd, 2020 at 11 a.m. Pacific, as noted in the article, so do keep a note of that. that if you're interested in the boons of the Waveborn goodies. And we also have... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying I wanted to snail.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I leaked a little bit of the next month's stuff too.
Stephen got a little excited and shared them. People are really funny because they're messaging me like,
It's kind of hard to hear him.
don't get mad at Stephen for sharing them. I'm never mad at Stephen. Don't worry, guys.
That's true.
Don't say that. People are gonna really think I do that.
I'm blinking twice.
You're going to the closet.
I really had fun with that next set that's coming up. If you're interested in like fire elemental goodies and stuff like that. So yeah. And then the last thing on there, I believe, is the pandemic statue, which is this bad boy. It looks amazing. So as long as you've registered before that date, I believe it was in September. I'll have to double check that date. But yeah, register now. If you're already registered, you're good. So without further ado, I think we're just gonna go right into the studio update. If you want to take that away, Stephen.
Absolutely.
Am I too quiet? Sorry.
Oh, I don't know. Am I too quiet?
You sound quite
Everyone's
quiet.
level for me.
Sorry, I keep saying the same thing.
People have to turn up their. I can
yeah.
adjust them.
All right, just to give a little studio update, we are a good ways through our hiring, our current hiring phase. We had listed 24 positions, but I believe as of yesterday, we are at 16 of those 24 positions have been filled over the past 5 weeks.
Nice.
So we're very appreciative of you guys helping to kind of spread the word for the studio, for our hiring goals. It's been very helpful. We've had a tremendous flow of very, very, very talented developers applying to the studio, very passionate and excited about the project, and that's always, great for us as a company, as a team, to get that influx of passionate, very talented developers. We're very appreciative of that. So we will have additional rounds of hiring in the future, in the near future, actually. And if you did not, make it through to the final stage of the process, for those of you who have applied, keep your chin up. There will be additional opportunities in the future. So we're very, very happy about that.
Yeah, the
sorry,
design candidates have been just amazing. So it's been really hard to kind of really separate the top tier guys from below. So if you haven't gotten an offer, you haven't talked to Steven yet, like hold on tight because there's just so
Yeah, I haven't done anything with audio, so I think you guys just need to project.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I can project.
I don't want to blow people's ears
Everyone
out.
was like, "It's better." I'm like, "I didn't do anything." Go
So
ahead.
then to further elaborate on the studio update, as was announced previously, due to COVID, we're still working from home. The hopes were that we would be in the new office by this month and or next month. Unfortunately, as I've announced previously, it's likely not going to be until the beginning of the new year. There was an opportunity perhaps for us to move into the new studio come November or December timeframe. However, with the release of the initial Alpha 1 being at the end of this year, I figured that would just be too much potential for disruption within the studio to orchestrate not only the release of the Alpha 1 client, but also a studio move. So we're going to be postponing that until the start of the next year. We also made an announcement with regards to the publishing of Ashes of Creation. Intrepid Studios has opened a entity within the Netherlands, within Amsterdam. We are hiring currently for the office that will be in Amsterdam. Those positions at the moment are going to be remote. So if you know any good European community management and or marketing teams or developers that you like, take a look at the positions that are open for the EU region and spread the word for that. We're excited about that new venture, and it's going to be fun to see how that turns out.
Yeah, it'll be fun for me too, because a lot of that is handled on my team side. So we'll have fun doing a lot of cool stuff on that front.
Absolutely. So that's development. Otherwise, is moving along rapidly as usual. We did in the studio just update from 4.23 Unreal Engine 4 to 4.25. It did introduce some bugs, but
Nice,
we're in the middle
nice.
of squashing them. The team's doing a great job of doing that. We'd like to obviously stay up to date as much as possible. With
I love
the
Unreal Engine.
engine versions things are looking good. Things are going
Did you want to talk more on that migration front at all?
I gotta say, like, it's fun to like always play with the new tools that we get in the new releases, and since we skipped kind of 2 releases in one go, there's a lot of cool stuff that we got to learn about and integrate and figure out how to take advantage of. So that is something that we really enjoy. What's in my mouth?
Something in your mouth. I don't see. I
I
can't
don't know.
see
Someone's
because of
saying
these
that there's
lower
something in my
thirds.
mouth.
Yeah, the lower thirds. It's because your camera's zoomed in like real close to your face
Gotcha.
compared to everybody else.
But to kind of further a little bit elaborate on that, 4.25 did have a lot of changes from an art perspective as well, and a lot of our artists are very, very happy with what's come along in the latest update. So that's always great to see too. And by the way, I know Margaret announced, but we do have, I believe we have 3 videos, not just 2, right?
Yeah, I said 2 for the design and 1 for character.
Cool.
Yeah. So if you don't have anything else to add for studio update stuff, we'll move on to our next thing. But obviously, if you have any questions about the My Games stuff, definitely check out our FAQ. It's on our website on the news section. It's also in our form links from our forums too. So we've also linked it to all our social media. So definitely go check that out if you have any questions. We'll have further information on the migration front coming out soon. So stay tuned to that. And yeah, we're excited for all the new folks that are joining our team. So moving on, we're going to play a video because we're going to move on to our design section. We're first going to play a video that's going to talk about the hybrid combat. We know that folks have been asking a lot about this. Obviously, a reminder that we're in like early stages of things on this front, but it should give you kind of like a good feel for it. And then we'll grab a couple questions and we'll answer those, and then we'll move into our next step, our next segment.
Just to preface this video, guys, again, I always want to emphasize that the UI that you're going to see here is placeholder. Not a lot, there's a lot of polish that's necessary and optimization. This is a very initial implementation of the hybrid.
One of the most least important aspects so far. UI. Expect that to change 12 times before a game's released.
Combat, but just wanted to give you an idea of what's going to be experienced in Alpha 1 and how we'll iterate from there. So yeah.
And of course, taking feedback, we'll always take feedback and assess things as we go forward too. All right, so I'm going to toss that video over. We'll see you in about 10 minutes.
Can't wait.
Hey everybody, welcome to another video in Ashes of Creation.
Okay, that bear looks so dope. For some weird reason, its eyes are creeping me out, but
I'm going to be talking a little bit about the hybrid combat system.
I like how you can see it breathe.
The kind of first pass, early iteration of integrating the action components along with the tab targeting type component. So before we kind of take a look at this stuff, I just want to reiterate that this is the early look at Alpha 1. It is the preview. And a lot of the systems are very first pass, and it's up to the testers that we're going to have present in the different phases of alpha and beta, kind of helping us to fine-tune and iterate upon these implementations. So one of the most important things to keep in mind as you're watching this stuff is that a lot of the art, while it looks great, we have an amazing artist team, but a lot of the art is first pass, including especially the UI. So keep that in mind. A lot of this UI is placeholder and will be further fleshed out as we get more along in the project. So talking a little bit about the hybrid combat system, let's take a look at the skill system. So this is where players allocate skill points into their different either active skills, their passive abilities, which can augment their usage of weapons and armors and their health regeneration and passive stats and stuff like that. On the weapon side of things, that's where you will spec into certain types of procs based off of weapon groupings. So talked a little bit about this in the past. If you have a dagger, daggers might have a chance to proc a bleed on your weapon attack, and that would synergize with an active skills ability, like let's say backstab, that does additional damage if the target is under a bleed effect. Now, we've said in the past that players will be able to allocate skill points into their active skills that are more geared towards either action combat or tab targeting. And as an example, you can kind of see, these skills can have additional points allocated to them to unlock further features. Some of them can be tabbed to start and become action if you allocate additional skill points. And this is one of the ways that we kind of balance the skills between action and tab targeting, requiring additional skill points in order to unlock certain features of that skill, and then it becomes a tab or an action type skill. So what I'd like to show you is, let's see if we can find some monsters.
Wait, is it maxed out? Game looks good. I like the birds.
So,
oh wow, you got a variety. Shit.
Smell here. One of the things I'm going to show you is essentially the weapon attack. So you see on the queue down here.
I love that armor already. Like, I love it. And he's only level 10. Now, obviously, I don't know if that armor is like, level 50 armor or whatever, but that's nice. That's distinctive. I like that. I like that shield too. I'm usually not a fan of shields, but that's a nice shield.
Here we have it's a Silver Guardian weapon. That's cool. Okay. So this is a rare, like level 10 weapon. It's not too bad. But these guys I think are low, or like level 1. As you can see, I'm currently in the tap mode, essentially. Oh, look at the poor little thing fly. It's gonna be sad to have to kill it. Pathing all over the place. I can click and I can target. I can tab target if I want to. So tab between that. So this is the traditional kind of tab targeting.
I love tab targeting.
Camera movement is not tied to my cursor. Kind of look around, stuff like that. Look at my gold silver sword. Yeah, but players can very easily transition between tab targeting and action combat. By pressing Z, I now tie my cursor movement to my camera, and additionally,
Guild Wars has that. Love it.
a reticle has spawned. Now, like I said previously, UI here is relatively rudimentary and very early, but essentially as I hover over targets with this reticle, I will get indicators through color and highlights on the reticle that will tell me essentially either distance to the target, whether or not a skill that I might have prepped could hit the target from this distance. I can left click and tab target a target currently. Now we'll change that to be right click. Right now it's left click, but it should be right click.
That laugh though.
And additionally, I can, when targeting an enemy this way, I can utilize my tab targeting skills. So I'll try to hook this dude. Come on over, little buddy.
Oh, I like that.
And my left click will attack.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Another important thing to note, let's see if we can get a few of these guys, is that all weapons have a forward cone to some degree. Based on the weapon type, it'll change. Pole arms, for example, will have a much wider arc and much further out.
True.
Daggers will have a more fine-tuned arc, so you have to be more precise in that regard. So if I pull this sword, if I pull a few of these macaws, let's see if we can grab a few of them. Come on over, buddies. So we have a few macaws here, little buddies, that feel horrible. But you'll see as I attack, I'm hitting multiple numbers of these opponents. And that's important.
I like that.
Because
I like that.
all weapons, regardless of if you're in reticle mode or tab targeting mode, you will be able to have a action-based type weapon attack, not active skill, but weapon attack. Pull this gun. So, that's an important note. Weapons each have their own unique and individual forward arcs and distance that they deal damage to a target. Let's see if we can go over here and grab this little plant. What's up, buddy? Give me your goods. Show me some stuff here. Now, obviously, as I've said in the past, action, combat, and tab are two very different tempos. And, you know, if we had to go through and rework kind of combat not to be hybrid, I would lean more in favor of tab targeting with high mobility and a lot of template type attacks to kind of represent that more skill-oriented combat.
Fair enough.
But I think that through testing in alpha and beta, but especially alphas, that we will be able to fine-tune this so that it sits comfortably between the two different types of speeds, essentially. We got some mushrooms. These mushrooms.
I like that water. It's got like that fantasy look to it, you know. It's like kind of realistic, but not.
There we go.
That's a cool monster.
What's important about kind of these action combats is the ability to kind of dodge. Kind of moving out of the way of certain skill shots. And oh, that's a death cap. I don't think we want to do that one. Yeah, that's not.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see players. It's going to be interesting to see essentially players kind of testing out this hybrid combat, seeing how it feels, getting an idea for essentially the balancing that's going to be required and hosting different types of CC effects across the different targeting methods, and iterating on this. And you guys are going to be a part of that every step of the way, giving great feedback as all of you do normally, which we appreciate on our Discord or forums or Reddit. It's always great to get kind of player feedback. With that, this grab. Bacon made this grab. Yeah.
The world looks
So,
great.
I hope you guys enjoyed taking a look
I love those
at
skeletons.
the
Those giant bones.
hybrid combat system. And feel free to leave some comments, and I will see you guys back on stream here momentarily.
I'm impressed. I like the mountains in the background too. But that looks nice. That looks really nice.
With that, I feel like there's a lot of questions in the chat that we've already answered quite a bit of in regards to blocking. Are there going to be more abilities than just the abilities that obviously they saw there? So I don't know if you want to kind of like touch base on some of those other things that you might have seen in chat. But again, I think a lot of those questions we've answered before, and this is early implementation again. So keep that in mind,
Yeah,
everybody.
I think one of the most important things is you guys are seeing that. We obviously the team loves to see the excitement, the feedback about how great the game looks and all that kind of stuff. That's very important to us. But really, what the purpose is of going into these alpha phases is going to be is getting data, getting logs, getting the actual feeling feedback from the players. And there's a long way to go in making combat what it needs to be. I've said this in the past. The design team knows this. We all know this. Combat is the most tactile system in the game. It's the thing you will experience most often. And outside of the systems and mechanics that are going to be present for kind of the overarching core gameplay loop, combat needs to feel responsive. It needs to not feel floaty. It needs to feel
100%.
mobile. It needs to be fluid. It needs to
100%.
give a feeling of satisfaction. The audio components, the effect.
Just like when you play a first-person shooter and you pull the trigger and it feels like every shell that is being shot has weight to it. That's what, you know, games like this also need to, not just shooters.
Components, the animations themselves, the types of skills, and those types of things. All of those are really kind of our objective in fine-tuning the approach for our combat in Ashes of Creation. And I just want to make sure that you guys are aware, as we go through these alphas, it's going to be rapidly changing. There might be several prototypes we attempt to play with the live audience. That's the best way, I think, that we as a development team can yield a successful system in combat, is that type of iteration, that type of player involvement.
Yeah, just getting that feedback from the players immediately, like that's one of the reasons why we've chosen to kind of expose ourselves this way rather than kind of waiting until we're about to launch to kind of let everybody know what we're planning on doing, right? Like, these are systems that combat specifically, where feel and flow is so important to how the game feels overall, and getting that feedback from you guys as you're playing it, early on before we really committed so far that we can't change it easily, is super important. So that's again like why we try to give you guys the inside baseball on everything that's going on with our studio, so that we can make those decisions and change direction as rapidly as we need to.
Yes.
My lawnmower person just got here, so people might be hearing my gardener going off.
Did you call him your lawnmower person?
I don't know. Like, I don't know. The gardener.
That's so great.
The landscaper.
I just heard it go up, and I'm like, oh no, the lawnmower is going off.
It's like a transformer.
Yeah, it does. I don't know. But there were some questions regarding add-ons. Obviously, we've already talked about that. We're not going to allow add-ons. We've talked about blocking before. The other one that I saw consistently was in regards to skills and abilities and how many people will have access to.
Yeah, so the goal is not to overwhelm people with hotbars, right? And to make sure that we're making good decisions about how many buttons you actually need to press to accomplish a thing. But with that being said, this is also a build-based game, so how many buttons you are using kind of depends on you. You're going to be choosing between passives and active skills, and how you feel your hotbar is kind of up to you. So
one of the things we've said in the past, is the things that I've disliked, at least personally, about MMOs that I've played before, is that as you go through different phases of leveling, you have relevant skills, and then eventually sometimes you end up with like a skill menu where you have half of them available, but none of them are relevant at your end game or higher level stages.
Yes. I've played a couple games like that. Not even just MMOs, but 100% what he's saying. I'm glad they even mentioned that. I'm glad they even talked about that at all. That's really good. That's really good, because no one wants to sit there with a whole bunch of, like, Guild Wars, I know, for example, they kind of fixed it with their, you got a set amount of skills, and depending on your main hand and your offhand, or your two-hander, whether you're on a mount or you're underwater, like, you always have those set of skills, and then you have your utilities, where that is where you're able to freely customize your play style, in a sense. Then you have your elite skill. But I'm glad he mentioned that, because in some games where you just have 1 to 0, you can have a shit ton of skills to choose from, but if 70% of them are irrelevant, well, that's not a good look. If anything, it should be based on the combat or the content that you're facing at that time, so you can kind of adjust accordingly. But I'm glad he mentioned that. That's really good.
We're trying to mitigate that as much as possible by making active skills capable of receiving additional skill point allocations and unlocking additional features, so that from a player agency standpoint, it's going to be up to you whether or not you want to be more diverse but less depth, right? Wider and not taller in some of these skill choices, or if you want to be very, very tall. That's going to be something that is up to the player in that regard. There will be multiple hotbars that you obviously have available, because you're going to have consumables, you're going to have,
okay, kind of like WoW.
But
all my mounts.
Exactly. But the number of active skills are not going to try to overwhelm necessarily the character and be kind of, irrelevant, especially at certain stages.
And I know it seems like most people are happy about the no add-ons, but in regards to UI elements and things like that, we're really trying to make them be, you can move them around, you can adjust them and things like that. So we'll try to, we want to give you those tools and make them be part of the system. And if you have, features that you'd like in the future, obviously, like, those things will take time. But, when community managers are kind of taking in that feedback, we'll toss those over to the design team, and they'll take into account what things they want to add to the milestones as we progress. So keeping that in mind, we're definitely going to try our best to make sure that it's very smooth for all of you.
From a UI customization standpoint, regardless of whether or not we open APIs or add-ons, that kind of we had a stance against that. But the UI implementation will be highly customizable, whether it be from resizing, a movement, a recoloring.
I'm pretty sure WoW had this, and I think it was EverQuest 2 also offered this. I'm trying to think of another game that was similar. I'm pretty sure a handful of games offered this, but it's really nice that they are implementing the option to adjust. Maybe you want to get rid of some things, maybe you want to enlarge some things, or sometimes, I forget what game it was, but I would have like all my stuff, like all my important stuff that I need to like timers and everything, I would have like on this side of the screen, and then like all the miscellaneous shit I'll have on the other side. But it's really nice that they're giving us that option. That's really cool.
Different types of actual UI flavors that will be presented and offered to players as well. We want to have a very, very robust UI system, so we know that's something that's kind of more personally oriented in people's kind of preferences rather than something that can.
Also, real fast, when he just said UI flavors, that instantly reminds me of Dota 2. In Dota 2, you were able to purchase, and I actually wish more games had this. You were able to purchase UI themes, right? One of my favorite themes in the world is Egyptian themes and like pyramids and like golden, like that turquoise blue and stuff like that. And in Dota 2, you were able to have like a sandy brick pyramid type of like UI, and it was really cool because they had like a plethora. But I wish more games offered stuff like that, like games with like UI and stuff. I mean, it's just it adds more character, I think, or it just more customization, more personalization.
One size fits all.
All right. Do you want to move on to the next video, which is going to talk about more Castle Siege oriented things? I do want to preface before we go to this video that obviously we used some GM hacks. You wouldn't be able to like run around like we were and lose the mobs that easily.
Yes, and also I'd like to preface that the castle you see here is really intended for like what systems will be able to have online by Alpha 1 for certain Castle Siege testing.
Small.
It's very small, so it's like maybe 1/4 of the size of an actual castle at launch.
Oh wow!
And there will be a lot more, inner corridors and rooms and multiple portcullises, gates, and stuff like that. We have shown in the past a little bit of the destruction physics of castles, so you won't see that in this video. We're just kind of taking you around and talking a little bit about the castle system for especially those of you who are new and might not have received a lot of information about castle sieges. That's kind of what this video goes over.
Switching over.
Hello, everybody.
I love that volcano.
Welcome to another
I love
video.
it.
We are recording here, not live. This is pre-recorded. It is Thursday, August 27th at 5:53 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I am joined by Tiny Toast, the
Greetings.
tiniest of toasts currently, and also by Leperzo, not Leperza, Margaret Crow.
I changed my character, and my other character's name is Leperza, so here we are.
So we just wanted to kind
I
of
like that horse.
showcase a little bit of the castle implementation. We're just going to take you over near the castle and talk a little bit about it. You are still on the Alpha Island, but we are hoping to get castles online for some activity in Alpha 1. And we're just going to kind of run around and show off the castle at its current state, which is owned by NPCs because the players have taken it. And, yeah,
Ooh.
want to head over there?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Just watch out for the
And
mushrooms.
I think they added, they updated the map.
Yeah.
I believe I don't think there were roads before. There were NPCs, but there weren't roads.
Like, cook them, capture.
Saute them.
That'd be awesome.
You know, we had stuffed mushrooms last night. I put it on the food channel.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That looked really good.
Oh, that sounds good. I just had stuffed peppers.
I like how you're on
Will
that
players
scale
be
runner.
able to create stuffed mushrooms?
The
That's a
scale
good
runners
question.
cracks me up. Well, the my you're on too is really funny.
I love that lizard.
Yours
Yeah.
looks
Desert
so
round.
majestic with its long legs, like a gazelle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, me.
Your legs are so funny.
So up here you can see one of the castles, probably those of you guys who participated in the apocalypse testing recognize
Damn, that thing could jump.
this castle.
That thing could jump high. It was like,
This is a bacon constructed castle. This is a little bit smaller than actually the size of the castles and how they'll actually be
that's already kind of big.
in the game at launch.
I guess,
This
I mean-
kind of will be more facilitating smaller battles, I think, in Alpha 1. But initially, as probably most of you are aware, before players do actually take castles, they will be owned by monsters. So this one is currently owned by monsters. And basically how it's going to work is guilds will be capable of signing up to attack these castles. And we've kind of talked a little bit about this in the past, but the guild that signs up to attack, multiple guilds may do so. They're going to initially be fighting these monsters and killing a raid boss that'll be kind of in the center of the castle. And what we're thinking right now is that in order to initially take the castle from the NPC control, rather than using the normal sealing mechanic that's cast on the center relic, instead the raid boss will be essentially killed by the number of players out there, and the highest contributing damage to the raid boss for the initial capture of the castle will be the determining factor for the guild. We're going to test this, obviously. We have a couple of other ideas as well. The whole purpose of Alpha and the betas is to test these ideas and see how they play out. Now, there's a lot of stuff outside of just killing the raid boss that's important to take a castle. There are objectives in the interior of the castle, specific waypoints that you want to capture, and this will aid kind of in progressing to the raid boss eventually. But let's dismount and see if we can head in. I know we're only 3, but whoops.
I believe in us.
Yeah, I think we might be able to.
We'll have to use some GM hackery probably.
Yeah, I think the 3 of us combined with the tiny might of Tiny Toast and the strong staff of Luperzo, we could potentially do this. Let's see.
I mean, you can see your reflection in my armor.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I love that
Pretty
armor.
majestic.
I like
Wait, what?
The little plume on top, actually. Let me take a look at that.
Can you really?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's like waving in the wind, but like the physics is a little messed up on the waiting.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
That's
All right, let's head
That's
in
where all
there.
your
Cool
ideas
as-
come from.
that's so cool.
So you can see there, kind of interior. Like I said, this is smaller than what would normally be the castle size, but the relic is kind of exposed there. The raid boss isn't present at the moment. These guys are, they are elite mobs.
They're pretty
So normally
strong.
You would have a party, a full party, that would be fighting these dudes.
Whoops.
Yeah, these guys are strong. We are cheating a little bit, by the way, or at least I'm cheating. You can see the other party members have a few hundred hit points. And I bumped myself up.
Oh,
Give you some
wow.
mana.
Wow, so if that's level 8 plus, and that thing's got 9,000 health, And he's level
No,
10.
mana.
Well, the other ones are level
Mana-
10, and they're
mana
5,
friendship.
600 health? God. Oh my. That's crazy. That thing is tough. I like the animations on the ground, though. That looks really nice. That looks really crisp. I like it. I like the dust particles.
Fire happening right now.
It's nice.
Yeah.
I want to
It's
see more
amazing.
colors, though, like in the combat. But I'm pretty sure, like, with other professions and everything,
Oh, no.
there'll probably be a mixture.
Into action, or actually, let's see. I want to train. I want to train the room.
It's trying to kill us.
Oh, I have a lot of hit points. You guys, let's see. Oh no. Oh god.
Someone's on my butt.
Oh, some little flowers in here.
I like it.
For
Oh
Okay,
no, he reset.
These guys are all
Where'd you
reset.
go?
I kind of ran into the center. I was seeing whether or not the
Ooh, I'll follow you.
boss had spawned yet. Where's the
Here I come.
yeah, let's come with me.
I guess the castle's not that
Another
big,
important
but
thing to note, by the way,
still pretty,
I know
to some extent.
we need a full
The scale's kind of massive.
Another important thing to note is, you know, during the siege, these gates will be closed. The portcullises will be closed. All of the walls are destructible. You guys have seen some of the destruction videos in the past, kind of how this stuff happens. But players will be able to come prepared with siege weaponry. They'll have trebuchets. They'll have
Ooh.
the ladder things. What are those things called? I can't remember now. Towers. in the siege
Oh,
tower.
those tower, like in Lord of the
Things
Rings and
to
stuff.
utilize.
Okay, cool. Cool.
Just kind of running around here.
We're trying to kill this thing.
Oh, no, you guys got that for sure. But yeah, we're aiming to have some of the basic castle functionality present for Alpha 1. Those of you guys who I don't know if we showed actually any of the castle siege testing in Apocalypse, but
He froze me.
oh, how did he freeze you?
I've been blocked.
Oh, he's an occultist.
He is. He's got some of the same moves I do. Throwing them back at me.
Oh.
Probably gonna make him leash. It's a good thing I cheated and put my health up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I like that freeze mechanic. I'm pretty sure
What are
you
some
can
of
still
the
attack, but
favorite
you can't
sieges you guys
move.
have participated in the games you played?
I've really loved Warhammer Online's PvP and Dark Age of Camelot. Like, both of those were probably my favorite experiences.
For me, I think this may actually be the first time where I'm participating in large-scale siege PvP personally. So I am super excited to jump in and test and try out all this stuff with you guys.
Ooh, that's kind of cool. You've
Or
never
it might
done
have
large-scale
been-
sieges?
Back in if we're thinking of Ragnarok Online, I think had some sieges. But that's probably the last time I did. So kicking it back old school.
I'm gonna circle around this thing.
I haven't heard of that name in a while.
Ragnarok Online, yeah, that's pretty cool. I also enjoyed Warhammer Online. That was a great game.
Yeah, I didn't care so much for the PvE content, but the PvP content I really liked, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, I liked the arenas that they had in Warhammer Online.
Yeah,
That was a lot of fun to me.
and some of the way that their abilities worked and stuff like that. As a tank, I thought it was really cool how I could like take the damage for somebody else and stuff like that. It's really neat.
Yeah. Another important thing to note about castles in Ashes is that they actually they should be facing the camera.
Ooh, okay, there you go.
Get
ano-
close, smile.
Another thing to note about the castles is they do
Too close, Toast.
have
Too close.
a lot of trophies for the guilds that manage to take them and keep them. As a matter of fact, the benefits for holding a castle actually get greater the longer a guild holds onto its castle. So each cycle, which is a 30-day cycle before it gets sieged again, the benefits of the castle get stronger. They exert control and pressure over the region, one of the 5 main economic regions they exert control over. They can levy taxes against the nodes under them. They can establish essentially the quote-unquote king's presence or queen's presence within the node system that grants benefits to the citizens that are under its rule. And they can have special relationships established with the mayors as well to help participate in kind of building up the nodes that spawn around the castle, these castle dedicated nodes. They're not tied into the structure of the general world node structure, but they're kind of dedicated to helping to build up the castle's defenses and the economic benefits that come along with owning the castle.
That sounds... Some of that sounds really similar to New World that's out right now. Well, the preview version of New World. I don't know if it's alpha or not. I'm just going to say preview version because that's what they call it when you install the game. You have something similar to that. You got the tax system. You got, you know, I think taxes, but you have like a trade tax. You have I don't want to say a crafting tax. There's a couple different forms of taxes, though, that's implemented. But it's really funny because some of these... It's funny because until New World kind of like came out with the preview, you know, all I thought of was this game's implementing so much new stuff, which it is. Then when New World came out with their preview, some of these ideas are implemented, so it's like it's kind of funny that I'm going to safely assume that New World, Ashes of Creation, and maybe one more MMO are kind of like competing right now, because I know New World's going to be out before Ashes of Creation, so I think Ashes of Creation might have an upper hand just because when they see New World come out, they're going to be able to make some adjustments, maybe improve, maybe add or take away something that the community didn't want, or, you know, basically look at what their competitors failed at or succeeded at and go from there. But it's just funny playing a little bit of New World and then watching the development of this game, and I'm starting to see some of the similarities, but regardless of the fact, it's still pretty cool.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little insight to one of the castles that is going to be present in Alpha 1. And we'll see you guys back on stream. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Thank you.
I'm impressed. No complaints so far. I like the world, too.
So it seems like y'all liked that and enjoyed it. And you got a little Toast cameo in there. Always cracks me up. I know there were a few comments and concerns in regards to obviously the difficulty of that, because as Steven said, you're going to have to like break down gates. You're going to have to like kind of progress and push. It's not going to be that easy. We're just kind of showing like
just to be clear, when we were running in there, so when the castle siege occurs, it'll be different than what you saw there. That's just kind of in its unowned state. If there's no owner, there will be little monsters, and you can kind of go in and fight on the off siege time when it's not siege time. Then when siege time occurs, you know, guilds will have a week period of time where they can kind of register and come and attack. And during the 2-hour-long siege, that's when everything changes.
2-hour-long siege.
Go down. You'll need siege weaponry. There's going to be specific objectives within the castles that you'll have to conquer, and then there'll be if it's an unowned castle, it'll need to have a raid boss at the center that kind of gets fought for. Attackers can fight each other during that experience. It's going to be a contesting thing.
Oh, wow.
Once the castle
kind of like King of the Hill
by a guild, that's when the supporting castle nodes start to come online and spawn each week prior to the 4th week castle siege. And they'll have to form alliances. They'll have to get support. They'll have to get resources. They'll be able to allocate funds that have been collected through taxation in order to strengthen the defenses, as well as hiring
kitty.
NPC mercenaries, you know, that type of thing. So there's a lot of systems that go into the castle sieges. Really, we were just kind of showing off the castle itself and kind of running around and monsters that are present there.
Yeah, and the AI is not finalized either.
yeah, it's all kind of populated for the level ranges that we're going for right now, and only really populated for group content. These will actually be raid level stuff, so you're going to need really large raids in order to kind of take these things from the NPCs who live there, and then also contest with other guilds that are also trying to do the same thing. So it's not exactly representative. It's a good approximation maybe, but
Another thing I'm really excited for. So if that is what the alpha castles are kind of going to look like, I can only imagine when the game releases how big these castles are going to be, and imagine all of the siege equipment that is going to be used in order to conquer this castle, let alone other guilds that are going to be fighting for the... I can't wait. I really can't wait. Please. I want this to be such a I really want this game to be great. It looks great, but I really, really want them to deliver, man. I really want them to deliver. I was never really a huge MMO fan. I've always been like a first-person shooter, racing kind of guy. But Guild Wars 2 is like the most casual MMO out there, and it got me intrigued. And now, yeah, I really want this game to deliver. I just want that like guild experience, you know. I want that that interaction, basically, that participation in roles and dungeons and siege. I can't wait.
certainly is not going to be what the final version is.
100%. And something that might not have been revealed previously, but each week leading up to the siege week, right? So there's a 4-week period of time that the castle is owned. Each week is a week that's dedicated to one of the 3 castle dedicated nodes. So around the castle there are 3 nodes. They represent week 1, 2, and 3, and then the 4th week is the siege against the castle.
Okay.
Those can only be elevated up to stage 3. We've discussed this, in the past. And there's definitely information out there on the community around. But
Yo, I
what we
love
haven't
that
expressed
cat.
is that on the tax collection side,
Yo, he's adorable.
castles do collect
Or she.
taxes from their region, which encompasses 1/5 of the world territory, and within those regions are nodes that spawn, right, naturally. And at the end of each week, there is a period of time on the weekend where NPC-generated caravans from those nodes start moving towards one of the castle nodes. And during that period of time, it's incumbent on the owning guild and its allies, or even the citizens of the nodes that fall under its purview, to escort those caravans to the castle's dedicated one of 3 nodes. Those caravans carry the castle taxes, so the incentive to essentially attack those caravans as they move to build the castle dedicated nodes on the enemies of that guild are very high, not only because of the reward that you can reap in kind of sabotaging that tax collection, but also in destabilizing or reducing the defensive capability of the castle itself, because it depends on those dedicated nodes around the castle in order to have strong defenses. Now, citizens of nodes that fall under the purview of the castle may not participate in the attack of those caravans. They are automatically registered as the defenders of those caravans. And that's important because certain benefits, it's a reciprocal relationship between the castle and its nodes, essentially. There are benefits granted to citizens of the castle, and the longer that the castle remains in the hands of its incumbent guild, the stronger the benefits become overall. But at the same time, that represents a greater incentive to attack the castle because the reward will get greater over time also. So just to give you a little bit more
I like that. High risk, high reward.
Awesome. And I did notice some folks commenting like, Steven really loves zooming all the way out with his camera. You can totally zoom in with your camera. You don't have to have it zoomed out that far.
That's true. I'm one of the zoom out MMO players. I know that there's a spectrum of people where they live on that from a zoom standpoint, but I love.
I always zoom out. I always zoom out.
Because when I played MMOs, I used to have a large guild and we had large rages, and I always had to kind of know what was going on. max. So-
Yeah, I think for raids I always
how
go
it is.
max, but like for when I'm just running around.
If I'm in small buildings, I'll zoom in, but
you know. But I noticed some comments in regards to that.
I usually zoom out.
That's actually a conversation me and Steven have a lot. Where, hey Steven, is this camera distance okay? No.
Yeah.
More.
Must have maximum zoom.
And there was a question regarding like first person, like if you can zoom in and like see things first person. I'm assuming we'll allow that as well.
You could zoom in, but you will not have the traditional first-person type animations where you see like your arms.
Your arms, yeah.
So like
Like
yeah,
Guild
you could
Wars.
zoom
Like
all
Guild
the way
Wars.
to your character and get that kind of camera perspective from the eyes, but you're not going to get any of the correlating typical first-person animations.
Completely fine. Completely fine.
Yeah, so like similar to a lot of other MMOs out there. All right, I think we've covered both of those. We still have a lot more to go through, and we don't have a lot of time. So I'm gonna swap us over. So there's gonna be
Yeah.
a weird screen situation for a moment. If
Got
you
about
guys
30
give me a
more-ish
moment for
minutes.
that.
Are we going to show the other one and have the audio go too, or are we going to show it while we...
Oh, that will be later. That'll be during the character. I'm gonna show, homie.
I'm sorry.
He's just excited.
I know.
I want people to see the little turtle.
Little turtle.
All right, so our first thing here is, and I know that all of the cameras, because their cameras are so tiny, their cameras are actually better quality than that. It's just because I'm screen sharing with them. We're gonna find a better solution for this for our next stream. Promise. Hold me to it. I know Jalon will.
Environmental art or environment art.
So first and foremost, we're going to talk a little bit about the Junior City Gate that you see here. And there's also a lot of little intricacies that we're going to show off in some other assets as well. And this first one is kind of like giving you the feel of what that gate is going to look like. This isn't even the whole city itself. But I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that, and then I can show as well the lamps and some of the props as well. And how those integrate with nodes as they progress, like level 1 to all the way to level 6.
Jeff, why is everybody telling you to put as much water in your mouth as
I don't
possible?
know.
It's because when you
from a
drink-
big Yeti, so I don't know, maybe.
Oh.
It's because they can see like all the water slushing around in your mouth. It's weird. I don't know.
Is it like does he have like translucent lips or something?
I don't know. I think when he like laughs and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, so
So it's probably
this
harder to
is-
see because it's kind of blurry.
This is a concept piece showing kind of the architectural designs for the Junior Stage 5 city. This piece in particular is really focused on the outer walls. One important thing to note about the way that nodes essentially get established is we're now utilizing a platform system as these nodes kind of get constructed in real time. And it's semi-procedural. Obviously, there's parameters that we set, and those parameters dictate the placement of specific buildings that adhere to the designs for both sieges, as well as the roads that exist and the location of specific services and or merchants. But what that ensures is that every node will have a unique appearance. It will be distinct to itself, and even if it gets leveled up multiple times, there's an opportunity there where the node platform design gets changed for each progression, so to speak. And this is great from an immersion standpoint, obviously, because you're not going to see cookie cutter type nodes you're not going to see cookie cutter type city layouts and node designs. It's going to be fresh kind of each time. And they're not going to be like, oh, this is every node's a rectangle kind of thing. They're going to be natural, immersive, looking like normal.
Oh my god, I can't wait.
Yeah, and so this next one is kind of the lamps, and you can kind of see the progression as, it goes from, town all the way up to, this is like Metropolis-ish. It depends, and there might be another stage in there, but kind of gives you...
You can kind of see the node 3 to 4 is like village and town. Node 4 to 5 is like town to city, and then node 5 to 6 is city to Metropolis. Kind of gets there.
And then the next one we have here is also some junior razors.
Oh, okay.
Not braziers. know. It's like a weird words, man.
1 to 3.
But yeah, it's really cool seeing like the different progression and like the style and how fancy.
1 through 3, 4 for 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is really kind of a testament to not just the concept artists on the team and their great job kind of showing off these ideas, but also to the environment team and just the sheer realm of possibilities that we're going to include in the game from not just a architecture and building standpoint, but also reflected in the prop designs as well. So a lot of these props are going to not necessarily be reused. You're not going to see the same brazier present in the Metropolis stage as you would in the Village stage. It's all going to be immersive and make sense visually as players see progression, because these are the central hubs of really the game. This is where pretty much every system ties into the nodes. We want to make sure that as players are present in those nodes, that it's not only visually aesthetic, but it also is visually makes sense as well.
Well, you gotta get fancy, man.
It's one of those things that the detail work really matters when you're trying to tell a story and trying to provide like a cohesive look to things, right? The details are really important, and so that's why we share these things. We're not just thinking about the overall big gigantic walls, but like we get down to like the real detailed stuff and think about like, what does a denier brazier look like? What does a denier cup look like? What does a denier table look like? So we're thinking about all of these things, on a really micro level in order to tell this story.
That's
make the
nice.
story make
That's
sense at a
nice.
glance.
That's nice.
And then the next one we have here are kind of like a bunch of different bookshelf options. We are, putting a lot of effort into like even the smaller little pieces that you're going to see on that front as well. So these are, I believe, the smaller bookshelves version. A little shorter. You can see the little dwarf there next to them as well for scale.
Gotta make sure the dwarves can reach the books.
Yeah. I don't know if they'll be able to get to the top shelf there. Maybe
True.
if you get like a little
They have,
step
like, a
ladder.
little stool.
Yeah. That's my life, man.
Dwarf tiptoes.
Like my life is I always have to carry around one of those little step ladders. Alright. Oh, someone's like Maggie to scale. Pretty much, yeah. Or Toast. Both shorties. And then the taller bookshelf is this one. So pretty. Even like the little details on like where the shelves.
I like the
are along
handles.
The sides of the
I like the handles.
what do you call it? The boards is really pretty too.
Yeah, I will say, one thing that's very important, to me when kind of setting out to make Ashes of Creation is not just keeping this high-level perspective of these grand systems, but making sure that at the most minute detail point, that really this project is created to a certain level of detail that is representative of the quality we want you as players to experience. And immersion is a very important factor, for myself and for the team. And we want to make sure that experience is whole, is really from the bottom to the top. Players are going to be immersed in this world, and a lot of that immersion really can stem from these finer details that might in other games be overlooked, but all of them are part of that equation, creating an immersive experience.
Yeah, you might not notice it, but your brain does.
Moving on to our character art. Do you want me to just go straight to the video? I was gonna have it last. just
Straight to
kinda-
the video.
I was gonna do it last, but we can go
Video.
first if you want.
We'll
All right.
ask chat. What does chat want? Video?
Oh, they're gonna want the video.
Of course I want the video. Of course chat wants a video.
I'll give you a
Anything
hint.
that
It has to be a
chat can
turtle.
see, they
All
want.
right, we'll swap to the video and we'll see y'all.
Anything
in a
chat can
moment.
visually see. Anything that the customer can see. Yo! Yo! Okay, I like that. that. Ooh, swim.
User left your channel.
Just chilling.
User was moved out of your channel.
That thing is massive. Yo, look at the environment too, man. I love it. Love it. Look at that. That looks gorgeous. All right, real fast. I want to say that looks... I hate to be that guy. I think it kind of looks a little bit better than New World. You can roast me. But I genuinely like this art style a little bit more. New World does look good for its engine, which I believe is what, Lumberyard, the in-house engine. It looks nice, but this is more of a, I hate to say it, but it kind of reminds me a little bit of like a, I really only play like when you're talking about like old MMOs, like EverQuest. I think I played a little bit of Neverwinter, but EverQuest 2 kind of had like that realism-ish type of perspective. It wasn't really cartoony, like, you know, like WoW or Guild Wars, because Guild Wars has that like cartoony paint UI type of art style to it, you know, which there's nothing wrong with it. I think Guild Wars paint theme, you know, for everything is nice. It fits the game really well, especially with the logo. But this game, from what I'm getting, is kind of more of like a plus it's Unreal Engine, you know, so we already know if you're familiar with Unreal Engine based games, then you know you should pretty much have an idea of like what to expect here. But this just looks gorgeous. This just looks beautiful. For pre-alpha, this is pretty damn good. How the eyes move and everything. I love the transit. Yeah, dude. Oh, I love that. I remember being in like 9th grade, 10th grade, and like Galaxy theme was like my number one. Like it was one of those trends. That looks so sweet. The saddle and everything. Oh my god. That scene reminds me of Giant Citizen to Kabuto.
Oh, that's cool.
That, if you guys even remember that game, that's old.
My background is a star background because obviously I love space and stuff. So that's what.
So do I.
Switch to the wrong scene. But I love turtles, so I love that.
That was really nice.
Yeah, and just so you guys are aware, that is the
Shell of the
Snapping
Shell of the
turtle?
Ancients. Yeah, Shell of the Ancients. That was something that was limited to last year. I think it was last year in one of the months. But it's always nice for you guys to take a look at, you know, as these things kind of come online. You
Damn,
see,
limited. I
you know,
missed it.
From the modeling perspective to the animation to the sounds to the eventually in-game.
Not the TeamSpeak sounds.
I know. Oh my gosh. Yeah. There's. You guys heard.
Yeah, why don't they use Discord? What? Anyway.
But, yeah, so you guys get to see kind of.
I remember
that
TeamSpeak.
and really kind of understand the process and quality that goes into creating these assets.
Yeah, and we'll have other turtles and other different mounts that are coming out. We're just kind of, we don't want to show off too much of the stuff that you haven't necessarily seen in that realm, because we're, you know, we want stuff to be some semblance of a surprise.
Some surprises, yeah.
Yeah, some creature. We have some cool creatures that are in the works that we haven't quite shared, but I think it'll be
Can't
cool
wait.
when people
Can't
get to
wait.
experience that in, you know, Alpha 2 when we swap over to the new creatures.
Hey, I see people in chat hating on TeamSpeak. I will have you know, TeamSpeak's a very good app, and
It is.
It's very mature.
It's very mature. It has a lot of administrative functions that aren't present.
I could believe
love
that.
Discord, but it has a lot of administrative functions from a professional standpoint that are best in kind of utilizing from a virtual office standpoint.
Okay,
and
makes
it's
sense.
been very beneficial. We have Discord as well.
Makes sense. Fair enough.
Activities and as a company, and then TeamSpeak kind of uses our virtual office space in addition to Slack. So
I was gonna say I was gonna say that too. I didn't want to look dumb in the video. I didn't want to look dumb in this video. I'm sitting there. I'm like, is that TeamSpeak? Yeah, I didn't want to look dumb,
Yeah, we have
but I was
a whole
right.
slew of things that we use on our end for goodies and communication and whatnot. But moving on to our next thing here, we have some Bayloon leather that is made by Carson. It's not completely done yet, but I kind of want to show you the progress of things. So you can kind of see that. I really love the style.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, they
want
don't
those
have
boots.
a heavy.
Yeah, those boots. Yeah,
Kind of.
I like the scales and stuff on the side. I like the
culture,
cloth
and you can see that
and the shoulder pad.
the leather set that Carson's.
And then we
Ooh.
have the Kalar robes here. I think we might have
Yo.
shown, before this page.
Yo,
Now you get to see it with all the
that looks
textures.
sick.
Obviously, this isn't a T-pose, but you can just see how amazing it is. And you saw my armor when we were in-game earlier, and how like the metal pieces like reflect and stuff. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think this set.
I'm worried about
is a
optimization,
level
though.
20 set, and this is not a cosmetic. This is an in-game achievable armor set, I believe.
Yeah, for me, so.
I can't wait to upgrade my CPU now.
And then our next one here is made by.
That's
Amber,
nice.
The Aegis of Vigilance, and some of you might recognize this one. I think we had a fan that created this as well, which was cool, like in our fan art.
Oh yeah. You know, one thing I love about these types of shields is just the sheer length, that kind of tower shield look. You know,
Tower
you
shields are
often
nice.
See that in MMORPGs, they're kind of a large, you know, piece for usually for characters. But I think the way we have set up the character animation helps to.
This is not made by a fan. I was saying like a fan made fan art of this shield.
Yeah, but this is the completed art. Excuse me. This is the completed
Officially.
official piece in game. So, what was the name of the shield? What was it called?
The Aegis of Vigilance.
Aegis of Vigilance. Gotcha.
It looks nice.
Yeah.
It looks nice. I will say that it looks really nice.
The Aegis of Vigilance.
Vigilance, yeah. It was more the Aegis part. It's like a weird. It's like Aegis. I don't know. It's like a weird word. Sometimes I look at words and I'm like, why are you spelled that way? And then Stephen gave a little sneak peek of our male dwarf here, but now you get to see the armor on the female dwarf. You can see how a little bit of the accoutrements are adjusted for the feminine form. And yeah, let's check it out. Great.
I like
one
that.
is
I like
made
that.
By Jinsey.
I like that a lot. It's not too much, but it's also what I like about it is you see in some games how either the armor is extremely bulky. Like, okay, I know Path of Exile kind of has this issue to some extent. I haven't seen the recent armor sets, but about 2 months ago when I stopped playing for the league, that's kind of the issue that Path of Exile has. If you buy like a leather, armor set, it almost just looks like what you can get in game. But all the other armor sets are like really big and really bulky, and you know, so you have that problem where sometimes armor sets, even like simplistic MTX armor sets or whatever, cosmetics look like the in-game armor sets, because you know, usually in some games the typical armor that you get 80% of the time, 70% of the time, it's just your basic generic, you know, nothing special to it. There's no flavor. It's missing flavor. But then you pay, you know, basically what I'm trying to say is in some games you can clearly tell who paid for their cosmetics and then what is delivered in game. And this, I like it. It has like that bulk kind of to it, but it's also simplistic at the same time. It's not too much, it's not too little, and I like that.
We have amazing
It doesn't look
artists,
like
so
one
we just
texture.
kind of like love having them all share, you know, a couple pieces of art that they're really proud of from the month. And obviously, there's some stuff that we don't want to show yet, so stay tuned for some things as we progress. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for our dev update. We're going to move over to our Q&A next, and I think, do we want to like have some of those like videos playing in the background, Steven? Maybe.
Sure. I have 20 minutes before I have to do a hard stop. So
We'll try to get through at least 10 of them. So our first question here is from Archie McQueen, and just so you guys know, we do post a week before our live stream. We always let you know in advance when the live stream is going to happen. So stay tuned on our social, follow us there. They're right below me right here. And we always let you know whenever you can submit questions.
I'm about to follow him right now.
Fast, but I know Toast kind of randomizes it so that, you know, no matter where you are in the thread, you might see your question here. So Archie McQueen wants to know, in the aftermath of a node siege, when freeholds can be attacked, are these attacks only allowed for participants of the siege, or can other players come as raiders to lay waste to freeholds as well?
in its current design, it is possible for anyone to attack the freeholds, not just the attackers. That might be changed. We'll see how testing goes. But at the moment, essentially what happens is the freehold becomes vulnerable for a period of time. And then after that period of time, there is a grace period extended for the freehold if it survives that vulnerable period. And that grace period could last up to 1 week, where another node spawns at stage 3 or above, and it falls under that node's zone of influence. The owner of the freehold can choose to undergo a quest/process by which the freehold will then be adopted by the node.
All right, our next question is from Nixa, which is, does gear held in your bags, not equipped, lose durability when you die?
No.
Oh, thank God.
Next question is from King Yossi.
That'd be dumb if it was.
Name right, sorry.
Or if it did.
Are artisan crafts and their progression affected in any way by race, religion, class, or archetype?
Artisan classes and their professions are not affected. That system is wholly independent of other character choices.
And then Yorkie wants to know, are there plans for level 50 to be a soft cap when you can still level beyond it, albeit it might err it at a slow rate, requiring lots of experience? So like, I guess if you can like have
Like a Paragon level?
No.
Yeah, there's not infinite progression in those systems. That would be a difficult thing to essentially balance. Yeah, exactly. So you know, there's going to be.
Also, when we had expansions, people would just like auto level. It would be weird.
Well, there's ways that you could restrict the progression to specific skill, components, but yeah, there's not a progression.
But we do have a lot of systems where there's still progression to be made, right? Where you hit level 50, that's not it. Like, there's a lot of other systems that you can engage with.
Of course. Of course.
Religions, and organizations, and all sorts of other things that can give you augments, which can
Professions.
change the way your skills work, and change the way your character kind of functions. So there's still a lot of stuff to chase after you hit 50. 50 is not the end of anything.
Thanks, Jeff. And then Ventharian wants to know, when Stephen mentioned flight paths in his interview with Asmongold, was he referring to the scientific Metropolis's airship system or something else?
No, the Metropolis airship system is really a connector between other metropolises and or different regions, so to speak. That kind of helps to facilitate a faster travel point. The travel system I was talking about with Asmongold, that's more geared towards within a specific region. So you can move from node A to node C within region 1, right? And those
If
regions
people have built those.
Exactly, correct, yes.
Okay.
And then our next question here is
Semi-fast travel.
And I think this is specifically, I'm going to preface it a little bit for you, Stephen, as well, is because you had mentioned that in PvP you'll be able to identify a user user's class by an icon. So their question is, will each of the 64 classes have their own specific icons?
yes, each class will have its own icon, and not only will you be able to identify by their icon, but you'll be able to hover over the user's nameplate, and it will give information such as level. You'll be able to see the quick buff icon for their gear grade and type, and then hovering over the nameplate will give you their class name as well, and it will show you the
Necromancer.
combination in case you don't know.
Necromancer.
Yeah, the goal is to kind of communicate the archetype real fast, right? So you can kind of get a sense of, at a glance, what you are, and then more detail will give you the specific subclass. And then if you really want to dig in, you can go and get all that other information.
Zimzam wants to know, how do
Zimzam.
you plan to keep Ashes of Creation feeling and looking modern 10 to 15 years down the road with its realistic graphics as compared to a more stylized look? Good question.
That's not good. That's good. That's good.
One of the great things about using Unreal Engine is that it has a lot of support from Epic, the creators of Unreal, and
Good game, by the way.
usually when they, progress the engine to different updates, or an example, moving to Unreal Engine 5, right? They do so while keeping in mind that there are development studios such as Intrepid that are always trying to keep as up to date as possible. Now, obviously, it's not as simple as just progressing, engine versions. I mean, art itself is created specifically for the game, so it would undertake some effort on behalf of the studio during that time period to make changes to the art, to utilize different third-party tools to help in that regard as well. So it's always a desire of ours to make sure that the game is relevant and updated, and expansions and chapters are introduced that will add additional quality. I mean, if you take a look at other franchises and their games at start and to where they are 10 years later, there's subtle and sometimes significant changes that are made to the game in order to update its visuals and or mechanics. And Ashes will be doing the same thing.
And our next question is from Worth, who wants to know, how will you ensure that explorative professions like animal husbandry and breeding won't be completely explored during alphas and betas? And I think we've kind of shown that in the way that we're doing Alpha 1. It's a little island. It's not necessarily content that you're going to see in game.
In game.
But Jeff and Steven, if you want to talk a little bit further about that.
Yeah, so part of it is that we,
Ouch,
I don't think
fucking-
there will be enough time to
I
fully
just hurt my
explore
arm.
everything, right? A lot of our testing, especially in the early phases, are going to be really directed, specific tests. I don't know that we'll ever have. I mean, I guess when we get to beta, things will be open for longer, and we'll be able to explore more. But like, there will be a limited set of content that will be available for that, and that stuff will come online as we get closer and closer to launch. So I mean, it's not going to be, you're not going to get the full game in beta. There will
Obviously.
be things that are locked out, and that will come online as we,
Obviously.
move toward launch.
All right, next question.
Right, and to expand just slightly on that, like a lot of the components that go into creating the animal husbandry system are based kind of off of these data tables. And in order to facilitate the appropriate testing for certain mechanics that exist within systems, you don't have to have the entire variety of options available to just, let's say, for the animal husbandry system, to see every type of combination in order for us to test whether or not that system is working as intended, right? So as Jeff was saying, we can disable a lot of those selections. That'll be a universal theme across some of the systems in order to protect against that, guard against that. Like, I've experienced everything in this game. It's now, essentially launched in beta. Our desire is to test everything as much as possible, but we can do so while limiting and mitigating as much as possible the exposures.
And then Captain Ducky wants to know, will different archetypes and classes have different quests connected to node stages, playing into their strengths? Example, a rogue stealing battle plans.
That is a thing we've talked about. I'm not entirely sure because we kind of need to have those quests be equitable. But it's a thing that we've talked about and we think would be really cool to kind of give you that sense of like, oh, I am infiltrating this node. Oh, I am trying to gather, intelligence on this node. Oh, I'm trying to, and whatever it is you end up doing ends up unlocking the siege.
True.
But at the same time, that doesn't need to be an equitable thing across all classes. So, kind of how we do that is up in the air right now.
And our next question is from Sent, which is funny. They sent us a question. Can I keep a house cat in my freehold? And I guess we haven't really talked about like pets in your house, in your like freehold. I know we talked about animal husbandry and like stables and.
That'd be cool to have a house cat or a dog.
Definitely not something that's outside of the realm of possibility. It's an easy thing we could potentially implement. I'm not sure if that's necessarily. I know I remember talked about having children on the household that would just sit there and do chores.
No.
And do
If
chores.
the household gets burned down, they get sent to an orphanage, and you can reclaim your child. But no. Just kidding.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's totally possible.
I love it. I love it.
That's on the freehold. That's just something we have to scope out.
House burns down, the
It's
kid's
just
gone.
difficult to set up an NPC that paths on the freehold. If, there's a slot available.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Do you have time for any more, or can I get?
I think we can do one more, and then we'll probably do the sign-off stuff.
All right. Our next question then will be from Jalan, which is: do freeholds, since we're talking about freeholds, do freeholds take on the appearance of the predominant racial architecture of the
Good
node,
question.
like
Really good
node
question.
housing does, or
Really
are
good
they
question.
based on the owner's racial appearance or choice?
Ooh.
They're based off of the blueprint's appearance
Right.
or choice, and then the blueprint, the building itself, can also have cosmetics applied to it based on the type of building and
Ooh.
the available cosmetics the character has.
Yeah, and you'll have you'll have different buildings on your freehold and be able to put different cosmetics on them based on what type of building they are.
That's nice.
The way we look at it is the freehold is your space, so we want you to be able to make it look the way you want it.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. That's good.
I think that's going to wrap it up for us today.
I just lost.
Switching us back. Big screen. So, thank you all so much for joining us. We hope that you enjoy.
So, I love it. I love it. I mean, what can I say? I'm impressed. I'm impressed. I like this. Damn. 1 hour and 27 minutes. If you made it this far, first off, I just want to say thank you. If you enjoyed the content, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you want. Dislike, any type of interaction I'm happy with. But just a quick recap, I love the direction that this game's going. And like I said in the beginning of the video, I might do a future video explaining why I'm passionate in the future of this game, or I have high hopes for the development of this game because Steven, he is a like an MMO diehard, right? And when you take someone who is self-funding the game, no investors, no third-party, funding, anything like that, when you are 100% funding the game yourself, and you have this grand idea on how your game's going to look and kind of try to appeal to all audiences, that is so good. That is so good. I just want to say also the mounts. I love the mounts. At first, the anteater / like zebra was kind of cringe looking at, but it kind of grew on me. That turtle was actually the lizard is my favorite mount so far. Then the horse, and then the turtle. The horse and the turtle are like neck and neck, but that lizard is so. When I saw that lizard in the background when it jumped, I was like, that's funny, that's cute. I'm happy though. I do like the combat camera, is what Guild Wars calls it, where you can turn your cursor or your cursor into the crosshair. But I like how they're interchangeable, and I like how you can still have that tab targeting and then kind of freelance targeting in a sense. So that's really cool. But yeah, fantastic video. I will be making for every future dev update, I will be uploading a reaction video. So But yeah, I enjoyed all of this. I thought it was great, to be honest. But yeah, guys, I will see you in the next video. Take it easy.